Hi, my name's Matt, doing a review of my Albion sword. This is the first Albion sword in my collection, and really honestly, this is probably the first sword, real sword that I've ever owned. Not the only one in my collection now, but it is one of my favorites still. It's an arming sword. It's just the right length and weight. It's very easy to handle. Sometimes it's difficult to tell how big a sword is, especially if you're looking at an image on a website. And so it's nice to have somebody just hold it up in front of them and show you what it looks like in their hands. So I'm about 6 feet tall, about 200 pounds, and so it's a fairly large arming sword, even for me. It's not the longest. Even some other ones Albion offers are going to be longer. I don't intend to do a comprehensive review. I'd prefer just to provide my thoughts and feelings about this sword in particular. Um, it's nearly perfect. This sword might have been used during the Battle of Hastings. There's some similar blades depicted on the Bayeux Tapestry. This is not the lightest sword I've ever held, but it's by no means heavy. The point is fairly quick. It needs a good cleaning. The blade is a little scratched up, especially near the tip. They come pretty sharp. This one actually was surprisingly sharp. Um, and I don't know how much that's required. Do you really need a sword that needs to cut paper like a razor blade, or does it, is being able to slice through water bottles going to be sufficient? I don't know. So a sword like this, what does it go for? It's over $800. So you want to make sure that you get quality. You can buy a sword anywhere, but why would you want to buy it twice? Why would you want to spend a couple $100 for instance, a threaded pommel? Uh, this pommel in particular is a peened pommel, and what that means is that the tang has been hammered down and then sanded, buffed out so that it's basically invisible. Swords from Albion don't come with scabbards, so you have to either purchase one or make one. Having your sword in a scabbard will protect it from the elements, and most likely it'll protect you from accidentally cutting yourself. So I've started to make my own scabbards. You can buy them. They tend to be fairly expensive. I've made it to here. We're just about done. Just need the fittings and the chape at the bottom, and you've got your scabbard. So it is pretty sweet. Others have pointed out the fact that when the guard is hammered down onto the blade, there's a little bit of space between the guard and the blade, and it appears that a little extra material was removed, a little bit too much, but it's not significant, and I have no problem with it, honestly. So I'm not going to complain about that. When I first got this blade, I handled it for a week. Literally, I had my hands on the grip for a week, and it left a lot of residue on my hand. I guess it was the dye that they had used. Perhaps it wasn't fully dried. Maybe it simply wasn't conditioned well enough. In any event, it turned my hands brown for a little while, but I mean, it's sort of nitpicking. It's a beautiful sword. I think it's well worth the money. It should last for a couple of generations if it's well kept. And, you know, I think they do an amazing job. Other complaints that people have are the time that it takes to get the sword. This one took about 8 months to get, and generally their wait times can even be significantly longer than that, up to a year, possibly even longer. But that's due mainly to production issues, the demand versus, uh, versus the supply and the amount they're able to produce in a given time. So, this is my review, and the Albion Norman, it's a beauty. It's a beautiful sword, and highly recommend it.